Okay, so get this. Right now, there's this consumer revolution happening in Brazil.
Yeah.
And it's all driven by AI.
Wow.
We're not just talking about like simple personalization here. It's more like personalization on steroids.
Interesting.
Imagine a world where you could customize anything you want and get exactly what you want. Companies are basically reading your mind to give it to you. Wild, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're going to be diving into today. We're using Texto Colato by Williams Fiore as our guide here. And we're going to explore just how artificial intelligence is changing the game for consumers and businesses in Brazil.
Sounds fascinating.
Yeah. And Fiore, he doesn't sugarcoat it. He pretty much makes it clear that you could adapt to these changes or get left behind. But don't worry, we're going to break it all down for you. We'll be exploring how this Moto prompt is shaking things up, what it means for the consumer journey, and why good old-fashioned human connection is becoming more valuable than ever. Ready to jump in?
Absolutely. I'm ready when you were. What's so fascinating to me about all this is that it's already happening. This isn't some distant future we're talking about. This is unfolding right now.
Right.
AI tools are becoming more and more accessible, and that's really driving this rapid transformation in Brazil.
Yeah, let's start with this Moto prompt thing. It sounds kind of technical at first, but it's actually a pretty cool concept.
Okay.
So imagine you're craving a very specific type of pizza, like that pizza with that one-of-a-kind sauce and all your favorite toppings.
Yeah.
But you can't find any pizzeria in your city that makes it.
Oh, yeah. I hate when that happens.
Ugh, it's so frustrating. Well, with Moto Prompt, you could actually design your dream pizza using AI.
Yeah.
You could choose the crust, the sauce, every single topping you want. And then, bam, gets delivered straight to your door.
Yeah.
That's the kind of power we're talking about here.
Exactly. And it goes way beyond pizza. It's this shift from a traditional pyramid structure,
right,
where only a select few have the power to create and dictate, to a much more horizontal landscape. Suddenly, everyone with access to AI tools has the ability to be a creator. It's like this supercharged version of the whole maker culture movement.
Yeah. And what does that mean for brands then? Like, they can't just expect consumers to passively accept whatever they put out there anymore, right?
You're absolutely right. Companies can't rely on those old school marketing tactics anymore. This is a radical change in power dynamics between consumers and businesses.
Wow.
Brands need to be more responsive and more collaborative and willing to actually co-create with their customers. They need to use AI not just to analyze data, but to actually engage with consumers on a much deeper level.
Okay, this idea of personalized creation through Moto Prompt, that really ties into how AI is transforming the entire consumer journey too, doesn't it?
No, totally.
Like, think about planning a vacation. In the past, you might have used Google to search for destinations, read reviews, compare prices. But now, with AI tools like ChatGPT, you can have a much more interactive and tailored experience.
Yeah.
You can tell ChatGPT what kind of trip you're looking for. Like adventure relaxation, cultural immersion. And it can create a detailed itinerary based on your preferences. It can even factor in your budget travel dates and any dietary restrictions you might have.
And it goes beyond just the planning stage, too. AI can play a role in every single stage of the journey, from discovering new products to making purchases to leaving reviews and providing feedback. It's all about creating this seamless and highly personalized experience that caters to each individual's needs and desires.
That sounds pretty amazing in theory. But I have to admit, it makes me a little uneasy, too. This whole idea of AI anticipating our needs before we even know them. Is that a good thing, or is that kind of creepy?
That's a valid question. Fiore uses the term intimate artificiality to describe this, and it really gets at that tension you're talking about between the benefits and the potential downsides of AI-driven personalization. On one hand, it's incredibly convenient and efficient to have AI tools that can curate information, make recommendations and streamline our lives. But on the other hand, it does raise concerns about privacy, autonomy, and the potential for manipulation.
So how do we navigate this new landscape then? How do we enjoy the convenience of AI without feeling like we're being controlled by algorithms?
Well, that's where critical thinking comes in. Fiore talks about this concept of deep doubt, which is basically a call to question everything. Don't just passively accept the information or recommendations AI throws your way. Dig deeper, do your own research, and be wary of anything that feels too good to be true.
So it's not about rejecting AI altogether, but about using it intelligently and being aware of its limitations. We need to be active participants in this technological revolution, not passive consumers.
Exactly. We need to remember that AI is a tool. It's up to us to decide how we use it and what kind of future we want to create with it.
And that brings us to another crucial point, the importance of human connection. Even in a world driven by AI, There's something about genuine human interaction that just can't be replicated by algorithms. It's almost like this funny image of a robot trying to give a heartfelt hug. It just doesn't quite work, does it?
You're hitting on something really important here. AI can be incredibly powerful for analyzing data and optimizing processes, but it can't replicate those nuances of human emotion, empathy, and understanding. And those are the qualities that are becoming increasingly valuable in this AI-driven world.
So as AI becomes more sophisticated, are human connection and empathy going to become even more important?
Yeah, absolutely. Think about it this way. As AI handles more of those like routine tasks and all that data analysis, it frees us up to focus on the things that make us, uniquely human. Creativity, empathy, building those meaningful relationships.
Yeah, that's a really interesting way to look at it. It's not about AI versus humans. It's more like AI and humans working together
Exactly.
to create something better.
Right. And that's where I think businesses have a real opportunity. They can leverage AI to improve things like efficiency, personalization, but they also need to double down on human connection too.
Right.
They need to show consumers that they understand them and care about their needs, that they're not just treating them like data points.
Yeah, and Fiore really drives this home in Texto Colato. He says, and I'm quoting here, empathy is the key word. Because whoever doesn't know how to speak to the heart of this new consumer will be left behind.
It's such a powerful quote, and it gets at the heart of what we've been saying. It's not enough to just collect data and personalize recommendations. You have to actually connect with consumers on an emotional level.
So it's not just about algorithms and data. It's about combining that with a genuine understanding of human psychology.
Yeah.
And emotion.
Exactly. And that's where things get really interesting, because as we've been talking about, AI is already changing the way we interact with the world around us. It's changing how we consume information, how we shop, how we connect with each other. But what happens when AI starts to understand and even predict our emotions?
Okay. Yeah, that's a bit of a mind bender. I mean, on one hand, it could lead to some incredible advancements, like AI-powered therapy or personalized education programs that adapt to our emotional state. But it also raises a lot of ethical questions, too.
Oh, absolutely. It's a powerful tool. And it's up to us to ensure that it's used responsibly and ethically. We need to have these open and honest conversations about the potential benefits and risks of AI. And we need to make sure that human values are at the forefront of its development.
It feels like we're almost on the verge of this whole new era, where technology and human connection are becoming increasingly intertwined. It's a bit of a paradox, isn't it?
It is.
We're using technology to become more efficient and personalized. But at the same time, we also need to make sure that we don't lose sight of the human element.
Yeah, and speaking of grappling with these big questions, Fiore brings up this really thought-provoking one in Texto Colato. He asks, will we be the future or the past?
Ooh, that's a big one. What do you think he means by that?
It's a question about agency and control, Are we shaping these technological advancements, or are they shaping us? Are we in the driver's seat, or are we just along for the ride?
It feels like we're at a crossroads. On one hand, we have this incredible potential to leverage AI, to create a more efficient, personalized, and maybe even a more equitable world. But on the other hand, there's this risk that we become so reliant on technology that we lose sight of our own humanity and our ability to think for ourselves.
And that's precisely why these conversations are so important. We need to be thinking critically about the role we want AI to play in our lives and in society as a whole. We need to be asking ourselves these tough questions about the balance of power ethics and the future we want to create.
So to bring this back to Texto Colato, it's clear that AI is having this huge impact on consumer behavior in Brazil. But it's not just a technological shift. It's a cultural one. And it's happening on a global scale.
Absolutely. And as with any major cultural shift, there are both opportunities and challenges. It's up to us as consumers, as businesses, as citizens, to navigate this new landscape thoughtfully and intentionally.
We can't just sit back and let technology dictate the future. We need to be active participants in shaping it, asking those tough questions, and making sure that our values are reflected in the technologies we create and use.
You're right, and there's a real sense of urgency here. This isn't some far-off science fiction scenario. This is happening now, and the decisions we make today will have a lasting impact on the future.
It's exciting. It's a little bit scary, but it's definitely a conversation we need to be having. So to wrap up our deep dives into Texto Colato, I think the biggest takeaway for me is this. AI isn't just some futuristic technology. It's this force that's reshaping our world right now. And it's happening faster than I think a lot of us realize.
Yeah.
It's like we're standing at the edge of a whole new era.
Yeah, and I think Texto Colato really shines a light on that. It highlights how AI is not just changing how we interact with technology, but how we connect with each other, and even how we understand our own humanity.
So to our listeners out there, wherever you are in the world, we want to leave you with this thought. If AI is the tool that's shaping our world, what kind of world do you want to create?
It's so easy to get caught up in all the hype,
Yeah.
the fear, or even just the novelty of it all. But I think what's really crucial is to take a step back and remember that we still have the power to choose.
Right. It's like we've been given this incredibly powerful set of tools, but the instruction manual is still being written. And guess what? We're all contributing to that manual with every choice we make.
Exactly. Every decision we make, every interaction we have with AI is shaping the future. I mean, are we going to use these tools to foster connection, creativity, and understanding? Or are we going to let them create even more division and isolation? It's really up to us.
Yeah, it's not about rejecting AI altogether, but it's about being mindful, critical, and intentional about how we integrate it into our lives.
And remembering that at the end of the day, technology should serve humanity, not the other way around.
Exactly. So as you go about your day, as you encounter AI in all its forms, whether it's personalized recommendation, a chatbot, or even a self-driving car, just take a moment to pause and ask yourself, is this enhancing my life or is it diminishing it?
And if the answer isn't clear right away, that's a good sign that maybe you need to dig a little deeper, question your assumptions, explore some different perspectives. Remember, the future of AI isn't set in stone. It's being written right now, and we all have a role to play in shaping it.
So be curious, stay informed, and most importantly, choose to use these powerful tools to create a future that benefits all of us. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI in Brazil, and until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep shaping the world you want to see.